Hey, this is the World Advice Channel 2. What I want to talk about today is the problem with foundational Black Americans, the acronym for them is FBAs. So for this video, I will explain in a simple and straightforward way the problem with their way of thinking and why it's not only toxic, but even dangerous for the Black community. So now I mention that, let's get started. So when it comes to FBAs, foundational Black Americans. What exactly is the problem with FBAs? Well, the truth of the matter when it comes to FBAs, the biggest problem with FBAs is this way of thinking that African Americans should only focus on themselves and shouldn't focus on other Black people, Black populations throughout the world. It's only Black people who are from America should only focus on African American issues and leave the rest of the Black community, like the Black Caribbean and so on and so forth, to themselves to do their own thing. And that is exactly what I'll talk about today when it comes to this issue and the problem with that way of thinking. And when it comes to that way of thinking, the biggest problem with it is that the truth of the matter is it simply comes down to the fact that the less you have people less people you have, the more easier it is to conquer you, in all honesty. Because the truth of the matter is, as Black people, we have clearly, clearly are the most disrespected, so on and so forth group of people on the face of the planet. We've had a lot of issues throughout the past few centuries, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the truth of the matter is, we are the most discriminated and oppressed group of people on the face of the planet. So the truth of the matter is, when we are a part of a group that is so oppressed and discriminated against and so on and so forth, for that matter, why the hell do we want to waste our time dividing ourselves even more when we clearly have a world that's out to get us in the first place? That's a question I want to ask. And that's the problem with these foundational Black Americans and so on and so forth, is that they have this way of thinking that, oh well, it's just us for fuck everyone else and this and that, when that way of thinking is so stupid. And the biggest point I also notice they tend to make is this whole point about, well, everywhere, well, in America, when other groups come to America, like Black Caribbean people or Africans from Africa, they tend to make fun of us and put us down all the time and blah 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 and all that type of stuff. But at the same time, that's the truth about that. Also brings up the truth about the Black community, which is that in general we all hate on each other. I remember I'm a Black Canadian, and I've heard a lot of African Americans hate on us for no apparent reasons when we don't even do anything to them, let alone black black people from the UK and so on and so forth. So the truth of the matter is, a lot of Black people in general, for that matter, hate on each other. It doesn't matter what part of the Black community, Black where you're from. Black people hate on each other everywhere you go. It doesn't matter what it is or this and that. And we hate on each other, and a lot of it has to do with just simply the history of Black oppression and stuff. Black people in the past, of course, and as a way to kind of divide us more, you'd have white people who in the Caribbean would tell Black people from the Caribbean, you guys are superior to Africans. And they go to Africa and, of course, do vice versa too. Sometimes literally probably the exact same people. Because obviously, the more you divide a community of people, the easier it is for you to conquer them. So the truth of the matter is, that is the truth of the matter. There is no such thing, in all honesty, as any group for any of the side of this division that's completely innocent. Both sides have hated on each other, and both sides have said terrible things about each other. Even in the past, when there's literally next to no Africans going in America, you used to hear, if you watch those old movies, you used to hear a lot of African Americans make fun of Africans, speak poorly about it, and the people who lived there. So where exactly does this whole way of thinking come from? It's both sides. It's not just one side or, and this and that, or saying, oh, well, a lot of Africans hate on us. No, it's both sides. So whenever I hear that stuff, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm not really buying it. So that's the truth of the matter. And back to the main point I was trying to get across about learning how to make or I should say talking about, for that matter, my bad, this issue of how can we as Black people, I mean, is us black people and black having a black division is we also need to realize at the end of the day, most black division is, I mean, when it comes to this particular issue, my bad again. Yeah, like I was saying before, this issue of why this whole FBA way of thinking is problematic is it simply comes down to the fact as well, back to what I was saying before, the exact points I was getting before, I'm just going to expand on it more, that we need as much help as we need from each other, okay? Look at the rest of the world. There's easily over 7 billion people in the world who are not black, okay? Okay, for that matter, okay? And a lot of the world in general is racist. Not say the majority, but a lot of the world's racist. So how do we deal with that much? How do we deal with that much people, for that matter? When it comes to the amount of discrimination, I'm not saying the majority are, but there's still a lot of them who do not like black people, for that matter. Okay, so we obviously need something that can obviously counterbalance that, which of course is the 800 to 900 something black people who live in this world. So the truth of the matter is, we as black people are obviously going to have to start being united and obviously realize that there's benefits to um to work with each other. Just like, for example, if Africans, Americans, and Africans from Africa get along, you also have a better way of understanding that we have access to the resources of black people from Africa, just like Africans would have better resources to the knowledge, to the better education system, the better education African Americans have that they don't have, and so on and so forth, vice versa, all that type of stuff throughout the rest of the world. So the truth of the matter is, this way of thinking that, oh well, we can't do any of this type of stuff and all this type of way of thinking is, and blah 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 blah. It's simply stupid, truth be told. We don't need them and they don't need us and whatever to way of thinking. No, we need as much of each other as much as possible. And obviously, when it comes to just basic economics, the more people you have, the more obviously you can generate more money if you are selling things to them. And also to add to that, this is a bit more deeper, but it's true. God forbid a conflict would happen, a military conflict happen. You have more people to back you up on your side if obviously your side is, of course, well, no surprise, is losing. You know, you have more people to back you up, if anything, for that matter. And God forbid a situation happens in America. We know how many white Americans don't like black Americans. You also have a place you can go to back to Africa where you can, of course, do your own thing and, of course, create a new life for yourself. And that's exactly what I have to say, to be quite honest with you and to be blunt with you. So we all need each other in our own unique ways. So to say this old foundational black American way of thinking is stupid. And let's be honest, the black community in general, regardless of where you go, have done dumb things to kind of keep themselves down. It has nothing to do with any particular group of people doing this and that. Most of us, in one way, shape, or form, have held ourselves down in a certain type of way. So this way of thinking is not going to make things any better or easier. Most black people do not succeed because of black communities, for that matter, don't succeed because of toxic ways of thinking. To be quite honest with you. And when it comes to those toxic ways of thinking, um, it holds us down more than anything else. So that's the truth of the matter. It's really that more than anything else. More than anything else that holds us down, okay? So to blame it on this group and this and that, it simply doesn't make any sense. So anyway, this is my video. I hope you found it informative as well as interesting. And just remember, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is off to say and simply put, I'm out. So bye.